All right, let's just dive right in. Today, we're going to tackle one of the single biggest roadblocks that stops people from ever picking up a new skill. It's this huge mental wall, and we're about to show you exactly how to smash right through it.
So it really all boils down to one question. What do you think is the biggest lie, the biggest myth that's ever been told about learning something new? It's an idea that is so common, it's probably lurking in the back of your mind right now, keeping you from even starting.
And there it is, the 10,000-hour rule. This one idea, made famous by writers like Malcolm Gladwell, has convinced millions of us that to get good at anything, you basically need to dedicate a full-time job for 5 straight years. And I'm here to tell you, for most people, that idea is a total myth.
So where did this crazy, intimidating number even come from? Let's deconstruct this thing. Let's peel back the layers and find out what it's really all about.
Okay, this is where it all starts to make sense. The 10,000-hour rule, it turns out, is about achieving expert, world-class, top-of-your-field mastery. It's the difference between training for the Tour de France and just, learning to ride your bike to work. One takes a lifetime of insane dedication, the other takes a few hours on a weekend. Somewhere along the line, we've completely mixed up what it means to be a champion with what it means to just be good enough.
So here's the kicker. The original study by psychologist Anders Ericsson wasn't about regular people at all. It was a study of the absolute best, the most elite violinists in Berlin, trying to figure out what it took to become a true virtuoso. It was never, ever meant to be a rule for someone who just wants to learn a few chords on a guitar for fun. That's a huge relief, right? So if 10,000 hours is the wrong mountain to climb, what's the right one? Well, let's talk about the 20-hour reality, a much more helpful and frankly achievable alternative. Our new goal has a name. It's called functional proficiency. This isn't about being a world champion. It's about being good enough to actually use the skill in the real world. The goal isn't perfection, it's utility. It's about being able to build the thing, have the conversation, play the song. And the time it takes to get there, it's about 20 hours.
Let's make this real. Take the guitar. In 20 hours, no, you're not going to be shredding like a rock star. But you can absolutely learn 4 simple chords, G, C, D, and E minor. And get this, with just those 4 chords, you can play literally 90% of all pop songs. 90%. That's functional proficiency.
How about something that seems totally impossible, like coding? The goal isn't to become a top engineer at Google in a week. Nope. In 20 hours, the goal is to build one simple working web page. It's about getting the basic logic, not mastering the entire universe of computer science.
And learning a new language, man, that feels like a lifelong project, right? But here's the secret. In pretty much every language, just 100 or so core words make up 80 to 90% of all daily conversation. So in 20 hours, you can focus on just those words. You won't be discussing philosophy, but you'll absolutely be able to order a coffee in Paris. Okay, so 20 hours to get good enough. Sounds amazing. But how do you actually structure that time? You can't just stare at a book for 20 hours and hope for the best. You need a practical plan.
And here it is, a simple 4-step method. First, you break the skill down into the smallest possible pieces. Second, and this one is key, you learn just enough to get started practicing, and not a single bit more. Third, you eliminate every single distraction you possibly can. And finally, you commit to that focused practice, knowing you're going to make mistakes.
Now let's talk about step 2, because this is the trap almost everyone falls into. We get stuck in excessive research. We watch every YouTube tutorial, buy every book, and it feels really productive, right? But what it really is a form of procrastination. It's a way for us to avoid the discomfort of actually doing the thing and feeling incompetent. Real progress only happens when you start trying and failing. And step 3, removing distractions, is totally non-negotiable. I mean, listen to this. Research shows that after a single interruption, just one quick text message or notification, it can take your brain up to 25 minutes to get back into a state of deep focus. 25 minutes. So those 20 hours of practice, they have to be pure, focused, uninterrupted hours. So we've got the goal, we've got the plan. Seems straightforward. So why do so many of us quit after a few hours? Because the biggest obstacle, it isn't technical at all. It's psychological. And this just nails it, doesn't it? The real challenge, the real barrier to learning something new as an adult is the emotional pain of being a beginner again. We just hate the feeling of being bad at something. The real enemy here is your ego. I mean, think about it. Why do kids learn so fast? Because they don't care if they look silly. They just fall down and get back up. But as adults, we're so used to being competent at our jobs and our lives. So when we start something new, that huge gap between what we want to do and what we can do feels awful. It's frustrating. And that feeling is the exact moment most people give up.
And this is when we start making excuses. We see someone else doing it well and we say, oh, they just have a natural talent for it. You know, the idea of natural talent is often just a story we tell ourselves to escape our own frustration. It lets us off the hook. The 20-hour commitment is really a promise to yourself to just push through that initial awkward phase of feeling like a fool.
All right, so as we start to wrap this up, let's pull all these ideas together into a few key takeaways. And then I want to leave you with one final, pretty important question to think about.
So here's the whole thing in a nutshell. First, forget the 10,000-hour rule. It doesn't apply to you. Your goal is simply functional proficiency, and you can get there in about 20 focused hours. Use that 4-step plan to guide your practice, but always remember, the real battle isn't with the guitar or the language. It's with your own ego. It's about pushing through that initial wall of frustration.
This framework is amazing because it makes learning anything feel possible, but it leaves us with one final provocative question to think about. If this 20-hour method helps you become good enough at a whole bunch of things, does that success create a new kind of comfort zone? Does getting to good enough stop you from ever pushing further to become truly great? It's something to consider.